Hey, hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Saludos y sean bienvenidos a esta nueva edición de Javi en la batería. Gracias por estar aquí conectados a esta nueva edición. Hoy es agosto 4, 2020 y estamos muy pero muy felices de estar aquí con todos ustedes. Hoy vamos a tener un excelentísimo invitado. Él es Brandon Buckley, baterista de Shakira y de muchos más. Vamos a tener el placer de hablar con él. Estamos escuchando en el fondo una de sus canciones, una de sus primeras canciones que se llama No Quiero Trabajar. Entonces, ahí está. Entonces vamos de una vez con Brendan a la 1, a las 2 y a las 3. Vamos a invitarlo. A ver, Brendan. A chequear que todo está sonando bien. Hey, Brendan.
Hey. How are you? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Cool.
Can you hear the music in the background?
Yeah, that's an oldie.
It sounds familiar, right?
Yeah, that's Fulano de Tal, my friends, my old band from 1997.
Cool, man. This is a cool group. This is Brendan Buckley from 1997, right?
Yeah, that was my old band.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brendan, for joining, for accepting the invitation. It's such a huge pleasure to talk to you. I just want to start by saying, do you speak Spanish? Because a lot of people have asked me to do it in Spanish, but it's up to you.
Bueno, hablo español también, pero pienso que es mejor en inglés porque, no sé, yo hablo inglés mucho mejor que español, pero no sé, yo hablo español como un niño de kinder.
It's okay. I speak English like a 9-year-old, so it's okay. So it's a win-win situation.
I think English might be better, but it's all up to you.
We can do it in Spanglish.
Spanglish
would it be
works
okay?
Too. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people ask me, does he speak Spanish? And I'm like, well, he might have been, because he's been recording with a lot of artists, and you actually lived here in Miami for a while. So.
Yeah, that's right. I lived in Miami, I think, from 1992 to 2004. So I learned most of the Spanish I know while I lived there, because all of my friends were from South America or the Caribbean. Right. And then, like you said, I also recorded and performed and toured a lot with different Latino artists. Right. But yeah, some of my best friends in Miami were all from South America or the Caribbean. So I really loved the Latino culture, the music, the food, the language, everything.
Absolutely. So let's start by giving you a round of applause and to welcome you to Hablando Drums with Xavi.Bateria. It's such an exciting time to talk to you. There's so many questions I would love to ask you. And first of all, I have to thank Amy Pillar for making this happen. So big shout out to her and for connecting me to you. And I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate this conversation.
Well, it's my pleasure. Amy is a dear friend, and yeah, she's a lovely person. And you know her from Universal? Is that how
Absolutely.
You know her? Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, so if you want to do it in English, I can start translating, or you can reply in Spanish, however you feel comfortable. But for now, let me just translate. So le estaba saludando a Brendan, le estaba dando las gracias por estar aquí y le estaba dando un shout out a Amy Pillar, que fue la persona que nos conectó, y entonces pues muy feliz de tenerlos aquí. A todos ustedes los que están ahí ya conectándose, muchas gracias por estar ahí. Entonces pues empecemos. Estábamos hablando de esta canción que estamos escuchando en el fondo, se llama No Quiero Trabajar, es de Fulano de Tal, una de las primeras bandas de Brandon, la formó aquí en Miami, si no estoy mal, y este disco salió en el 97, un año antes de que empezara el Shakira World, right?
Verdad, sí.
So,
yes.
¿Entiendes español, ok?
Sí.
Perfecto. Brandon, entonces, you were born on March 13, 1974. but you look, man, like you were born in the 84 or maybe 94 because you haven't aged anything. And I guess what's the secret to keep, looking young and healthy?
Music keeps me young. I think if I had another job, maybe I would look 104 years old. But no, I mean, I love music. I love life. I love exercise and healthy food, and but mostly drumming. Drumming is an instrument that has a lot of activity, and I don't know, maybe it's also an attitude. All of my friends and I are quite childish still. So right. I think our senses of humor are very young still, so I don't know.
Ok, le estaba preguntando a Brendan, la primera pregunta que le estoy haciendo es que él es del 74, aunque no lo crean, parece de 30 años, pero tiene un poco más. Entonces le preguntaba aquí cuál es el secreto para mantenerse así, luciendo joven y con tanta vibrancia, si le puede decir así. Y él dice que pues el secreto es la música, la vida, comer bien, batería, que la batería le da mucha actividad, entonces ahí está toda la inspiración y toda su vida. Entonces, Brendan, so you were born in New Jersey, right? And so how was it like to grow up, and who were your first idols and the people you started looking up? How was that?
Well, I guess when I was young, I used to watch a lot of MTV at the time, and MTV had a lot of music, so I used to watch a lot of bands, rock bands, punk bands, hardcore bands, heavy metal bands, and I always wanted to emulate the drummers that I saw. I loved Van Halen, I loved The Cure, I loved Jane's Addiction, I loved Metallica, Iron Maiden, a lot of different things.
All the heavy guys.
All over the map, but yeah, so by the time I got to high school, I already wanted to be in a band.
Wow, increíble. So, le estoy preguntando a Brendan que él nació en New Jersey y le pregunté que cómo empezó pues, su fascinación por la música y la batería, que quiénes eran esas personas que empezó a mirar cuando él estaba creciendo, y nos dice que a través de MTV, cuando él estaba creciendo, escuchaba muchas bandas y pues su deseo era emular a los bateristas que veían en este canal de música, bueno, que era de música, pero ya no es, pero entonces decía que veía Van Halen, The Cure, Metallica, Iron Maiden, entonces que se la pasaba tocando y tocando. And then you, at age 18, you decided to move here in South Florida, Miami, to go to the University of Miami Force School of Music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
go ahead.
My question would be, why Miami? How there's so many million, like a lot of schools in LA, in New York, Boston that are really, really good. And why did you decide to come to the Sunshine State?
Oh, the Latino culture, of course.
Okay.
No, I think it was because I applied to a lot of schools that had music programs, and I visited a lot of schools. I auditioned for a lot of schools, but I really wanted to go to a school that was also located in a major city, so I could, after studying or practicing, I can go out at night and see musicians and work and jam and rehearse and play and meet other people. So that limited the amount of really good universities I can go to, because there's only several that are in, like you said, Boston or New York or Miami. And Miami came very highly recommended to me by a number of students and professors. So I went and checked it out, and I just loved it. I loved the school. It was great, and it gave me everything I wanted.
Ok, Brendan. So, le estoy preguntando a Brendan que a los 18 años, yo sé que él vino aquí a Miami, a la Ciudad del Sol, a estudiar música en la Universidad de Miami, y mi pregunta era ¿por qué Miami y por qué no escogió de pronto otra ciudad como New York, Los Ángeles o Boston, que son más reconocidas por la música? Entonces él primero me dice que por los latinos y la cultura latina, y luego me dice que en realidad aplicó a diferentes escuelas y que después pues como que se limitó a las ciudades grandes donde él podía pudiera pues ensayar, conocer músicos, conocer gente, y pues Miami estuvo recomendada por muchos amigos y profesores que él tuvo. Entonces pues se vino aquí a la Ciudad del Sol a bailar salsa.
Exactamente.
Did you learn how to dance here, man?
Yeah, sí. Obvio.
Sí, obvio. ¿Qué te gusta bailar? ¿Salsa, bachata, reggaetón, merengue, cumbia?
Prefiero salsa.
¿La salsa?
Como grupo Nietzsche.
Uy, el grupo Nietzsche. Es colombiano, obviamente, de mi región, entonces llega...
Yo sé.
¿Y qué tal Joey Arroyo?
También.
Sí, No le pegue en la negra, La Rebelión.
Clásico.
¿Alguna vez llegaste a tocar algún tipo de salsa aquí en Miami con una banda, una orquesta cubana o...?
Yeah, un poco. Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm just asking Brendan if he played some for those who are out there that doesn't speak Spanish. I just asked Brendan if he played here with a Latin band and which bands did he liked when he was in Miami. And he mentioned a couple of Colombian bands, and he also played some Latin stuff, which is amazing.
I actually got to play with Joe Arroyo once in Barranquilla.
Really? Wow.
I played. I can't remember what I played. I think I played maracas, but something very.
I mean, it still works. Joe Arroyo is such a legend, and of course. Okay, before continuing, I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody that is out there. Agradecerle a todos los que están ahí y también saludarlos. Hay muchas personas que están escribiendo, saludando a Brendan. De México, Chile, veo banderitas por aquí de Colombia también, Venezuela. El fan club Pies Descalzos de Perú también está ahí, Shaquichelo, bueno, muchas banderas, Bolivia veo también, Chile, ya lo había mencionado. Un saludo a todos ustedes, gracias Brendan por estar aquí con nosotros, compartir un par de minutos en mi canal Xavi.Bateria y recordándoles que estamos haciendo esto todos los martes 8 de la noche, hora Miami, con excelentes artistas invitados. Entonces, sigamos con la conversación, Brandon. Cuéntanos, ¿cómo es un día en la vida de Brandon hoy, con todo lo que está pasando?
Un día hoy durante el quarantine.
What is like a day for you? Like you wake up and then what do you do?
Well, the day in this environment is a little different because of the quarantine.
Absolutely.
But let's see. Normally, I get up around 6:45. I go get a cup of coffee and do some exercise, either go ride my bike or go for a jog. And then I start my day, and my day is normally first getting my kid ready for the day, you know, making him breakfast and doing some work with him, maybe some homeschooling work, some art. And then you see right now I'm in a studio. This is my studio. Okay. And I normally do recordings from here. So I usually do maybe about 1 or 2 songs a day, recording for other artists from this studio. And then at night, maybe eat some dinner, watch some Disney with my kid again, and then I go to bed.
Okay, so no more Walking Dead or any of those shows. It's just mainly kid related.
Just kids. Yeah, just Pixar and...
Absolutely. Se le estaba preguntando a Brendan que cómo es un día en la vida de él ahora. Entonces nos dice que con todo esto, lo de la pandemia y todo y lo que está pasando, que por lo general se levanta a las 6:45, se ejercita, come un poco, luego alista a su hijo y pues hace las tareas de la escuela con él, un poco de arte, luego entra a su estudio, que es el que estamos viendo en este momento, y graba 1 o 2 canciones por día, y luego en la noche come algo para la cena con su familia y luego pues se pone a mirar Disney o Pixar. Y pues yo me refería que los días de los shows oscuros como Walking Dead se acabaron, y él me dice que desafortunadamente sí, que ahora solo es Disney y Pixar. And so 1 or 2 songs a day, that's kind of cool. For most people, 1 song a week is amazing. So how do you keep up, with that, even though we are in quarantine and with these crazy times?
Well, that's a good question. When around March of this year, when they started doing the lockdown quarantine, and all of my live concerts for the year got canceled, I was going to do, what was it, Coachella with an artist named Nati Peluso from Argentina. I was going to do South American tour with Perry Farrell. We were going to go to Brazil and Argentina and Mexico and stuff. That all got canceled. So then I thought, well, there goes my entire year's worth of work. And but surprisingly, I guess because artists still like to create, everyone just decided to start recording music from home. So I think I'm not the only drummer who has a studio in his house, but I am one of them. So I think a lot of people reached out to me over the last several months, expressing that they have songs or projects or albums they want to finish, and asking me, since I have a studio in my house, could I record for them? So it's been quite busy, actually. I did not expect that to happen, but it did. So, and I like it. It keeps me creative. I like making music with other people. So this is my way of doing it now.
Ok, thank you, Brendan. So, le estaba preguntando a Brendan que él nos mencionó que él graba por lo general 1 o 2 canciones al día, y yo le pregunto en manera de chiste que muchas personas grabar una canción a la semana es realmente algo excelente. Entonces él nos dice que al principio, cuando empezó todo lo de la pandemia en marzo, todos sus conciertos fueron cancelados. Iba a hacer un concierto en Coachella con Nati Peluso, en toda Sudamérica con Perry Farrell, y también pues tenía muchos proyectos, y cuando pasó toda la pandemia y todo su año realmente se fue al stand-by, pues él decidió grabar desde la casa, y entonces ahí fue cuando muchos artistas lo empezaron a llamar para grabar con él, que han estado creando y que todos los artistas les gusta crear, y pues él es uno de ellos, y también él le encanta ser así creativo y todo lo demás. And Brandon, now getting a little bit deep here, and it's totally fine if you don't want to answer this question, but I'm going to talk about yesterday's comments about Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, pretty much telling that artists need to work more to make more money. So what's the point of view of that comment, or what's the message for him if he's listening somehow this conversation?
Well, I did not read the article. I just saw a headline last night before passing out, before I went to bed, about what he said and about how the artists were quite upset about that. They're saying, basically he's saying if you want to get paid, you have to, make more content.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking like a business person, but artists don't work that way. Artists make 1 album a year, maybe 1 album every 3 years. So it's not quite like a factory.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's not just Spotify. The entire
streaming service
industry of making music has changed. Every way that musicians, songwriters, producers, recording studios, everything has changed for everyone, and everyone's trying to figure out how to make the same amount of money they made 10 or 20 years ago. It's very difficult for a lot of people. I mean, I have a recording studio here, so it means I don't have to go to a very, very fancy, expensive recording studio as much. I go maybe only 10% of the time that I used to. A lot of songwriters now don't seem to get paid as much as they used to get paid. A lot of recording musicians don't get paid as much as they used to. A lot of touring musicians don't tour as long as they used to. Maybe they used to go out for 8 months, but now they only go out for 3 weeks. And so they make less money that way. So it's not just Spotify. I feel like the entire industry has kind of flipped itself upside down. And so everyone's really confused and trying to figure out a proper way to get compensated for being an artist. And I don't know. I've been told that there are other streaming services that pay better wages than Spotify. I don't know if it's Tidal or some other ones, but I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, and before translating, I wanted to make a counter question, and would be, if it were in your hands right now and say, okay, Brendan, it's all on you, what would you change right now in the music business, streaming service industry?
Well, in the streaming service industry, well, I guess the biggest complaint is the royalty payments, correct? So for artists and songwriters, well, not songwriters, I guess artists, basically, they used to get paid by the albums they sold. So if you sold CDs, you would get like $1 a CD. So you sold 1 million albums, you get $1 million or something like that. Now with streaming, they get like a 0.000 penny for every time someone listens their song.
Cents. So 3 cents, I think 3 cents for the dollar.
Is that what it is? Yep. So I feel like maybe that's probably where the first thing has to change. I don't know how much Spotify is making compared to the artists. I don't know how much they're netting versus the artists. And I guess that's where all the major negotiations need to happen. Or maybe some other streaming service that has a much better deal has to come out. Because I know a lot of artists that try to hold their music off of Spotify for a while, they just finally give in because it's probably the most popular one.
And so in a nutshell, you would change the way the royalties are being paid to the artists through these services, right?
No, well, yes, but what I'm saying is that's without doing enough research or studying it. That seems like to be the biggest problem and the biggest complaint. Okay. So that's what I would look at first.
Perfect. I know it's a difficult question and it's so deep, you know, but thank you so much for answering me. And now let me translate. So le estaba preguntando a Brendan acerca de, pues, el anuncio que hizo el CEO de Spotify ayer acerca de que los artistas deberían trabajar más para ganar más, comparado a que él gana como 4.1 billones de dólares por su negocio. Y realmente Brandon es muy nos contesta de una manera muy chévere y nos dice que pues todo en la industria ha cambiado, todo ha venido cambiando, la música no es una factoría y hay muchos artistas que realmente ahorita no están ganando lo que solían ganar en décadas anteriores. La gente que escribe las canciones, la gente que graba, la gente que hace tour, no está ganando lo mismo, entonces es un problema para los artistas en estos momentos. Entonces le estoy preguntando a Brendan que si él tuviera esa llavecita mágica y pudiera cambiar algo en el sistema de los servicios que hacen streaming, y él me dice que realmente habría que mirarlo de muchos puntos de vista y que realmente las regalías a los músicos debería incrementarse un poco más. Entonces, pero él dice que es un punto de vista pues que hay que mirarlo de otras formas y no solamente es una cosa, sino que es como un conjunto de situaciones. Going back to let's go back to the fun stuff, because this is I think this is an issue that is not going to be resolved easily, and we just want to hear right now your greatness about your drumming and Shakira. And yeah, it sounds like a joke, but it's not, because it's been 20 years of you playing with Shakira. So many amazing songs. So let's go back.
22,
yeah, from 98.
22, sí.
22. Entonces le estaba diciendo a Brandon que ahora vamos a ir a hablar ahora exactamente a lo de Shakira. Ha estado tocando por más de 20 años, 22 años, porque empezó en el 98. Y entonces let's go back to 1997 and the song we were listening, which is No Quiero Trabajar by fulano de tal. And then after this, you went to tour with Julio Iglesias. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah. You reminded me of that. So, well, it's funny because the producers of this record, the Fulano de Tal record,
okay.
I used to work at their studio a lot. One of them was Rodolfo Castillo. He's a Guatemalteco, and he used to have me come over to studio to do drums or shakers or whatever on different projects. And one time I was hanging out at his studio and he got a phone call saying, "Hey, do you know anyone who could play piano with Julio Iglesias?" And I said, "Yeah, I know a friend of mine." So I recommended a friend of mine named Peter Wallace. So they auditioned him. He went on tour. And 2 weeks later, they asked him, "Hey, do you know anyone who could play drums with Julio Iglesias?" He said, I know a guy, so he recommended me back. So,
Wow.
So then I flew out to one of their sound checks, and I played a couple songs during the sound check. And Julio said, "Great, I love it. You'll start tonight." So I had to walk. I had to walk across the street and buy an outfit and come back and then play the first half of that concert. You know, was my audition, and then I played. That was fun. I played with him. I guess so. That was 97, 98, something like that. We went to Brazil, Argentina, around the U.S. and Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, that was a great tour.
Awesome. So let me just translate that amazing story. So le estoy preguntando a Brendan acerca, nos fuimos otra vez hacia el pasado y estamos hablando del año 97 donde él grabó esta canción que estamos escuchando de fulano de tal que se llama No Quiero Trabajar, y entonces le pregunto que después de eso él se fue en un tour con Julio Iglesias y que cómo pasó. Entonces me dice que en ese momento el productor de ese disco, Rodolfo Castillo, él trabajaba mucho con él en el estudio, hacía muchas grabaciones y en algún momento lo llamaron y le preguntaron si conocía algún pianista para tocar con Julio Iglesias. Él recomendó a un amigo y luego como un tiempo después a este pianista tocando con Julio le preguntaron, hey, ¿conoces un baterista? Y él lo recomendó de vuelta a Brandon y así fue que como conectó, viajó y hizo una prueba y le dijeron, ok, empiezas esta noche. Y entonces pues él se tuvo que ir, comprarse un traje y volver, y dice que la audición fue, la mitad del concierto fue la audición de él con Julio Iglesias. So how did you learn the set list, you know, from minutes, you know, hours away?
They gave me a cassette tape. You remember those old like cassette tapes you used to put in a Walkman?
Okay.
So they gave me a cassette tape with the concert on it, and I just learned as much as I could.
Wow.
And I told the guys, I've learned
This much.
7 songs. So they're like, okay, you play the first 7 songs, and that's what I did.
Did you?
And then the other
it?
drummer, I think I did.
Okay.
I did. And then the other drummer who was a friend of mine, but he was going to leave the tour. He played the rest of the concert, and then after that, I had time to learn the rest of the show and take over.
Wow. Entonces le estoy preguntando a Brendan cómo fue capaz de aprenderse todo el setlist en cuestión de horas. Y entonces él me dice que le dieron un cassette, un Walkman, y él escuchó lo más que pudo. Y cuando llegó les dijo, ok, me aprendí 7 canciones. Entonces le dijeron, ok, tocas estas 7 canciones y después el resto del show lo tocó el otro baterista. El otro baterista se iba después y él después pues se aprendió el resto de las canciones. Le preguntó que cómo hizo para aprenderse las canciones y él pues no recuerda muy bien, pero dice que probablemente hizo un chart y las aprendió, pero that's amazing. And then let's get to the $100 million question that everybody's asking right now. How did you meet Shakira?
That was in Miami. There was a recording studio called Crescent Moon Studio. That was owned by Gloria y Emilio Estefan.
Yeah.
And I used to work there from time to time, and I had a friend who was one of the engineers there. His name is Sebastian Chris, and he called me up once saying, hey, would you be able to record a song next week, some live drums for an artist that's coming through? So I said, sure. I brought my drums. I met Shakira and her songwriter partner, producer, Luis Fernando Ochoa, and we recorded the song Donde Están los Ladrones.
Okay.
That was it was just a job to play that song, and I recorded it, and everyone was super happy. And they said, okay, we love it. Would you come back tomorrow and do another song? So I came back the next day and did Si Te Vas. And then they said, great, would you come back tomorrow and do another song? So I came back the next day and I did Inevitable.
Wow.
And then I came back the next day and did Octavo Dia. And then the next day and did No Creo. And then, so I did about half of that record, the Ladrones record. And then when the album came out, they asked me, would I mind doing some live shows also? She really likes the way I play. So, yeah. And then I started doing little shows with her, like kind of CD release party kind of shows.
Yeah.
And then we did, I can't remember what came first. I think we did an MTV Unplugged in New York City. and then we did the Amphibio tour de Amphibio.
Okay.
So that was my whole beginning to the project. And it all started from that first song I recorded.
That first song. Okay, so le estoy preguntando a Brendan que cómo conoció a Shakira, la pregunta del millón, y él me dice que en esa época le estaba trabajando en un estudio que es de Gloria Estefan y Emilio Estefan, y trabajaba con el ingeniero Sebastián Chris, y entonces un día cualquiera lo llamaron para grabar una canción para Shakira con el productor Fernando Ochoa, y entonces él dice que la primera canción que grabó fue ¿Dónde están los ladrones? Grabó esa canción, la hizo perfecta, lo que sea, volvió a la casa, lo llamaron, hey, ¿puedes grabar otra canción? Volvió a grabar otra canción, así pasó un par de veces y resultó grabando la mitad del álbum, ¿Dónde están los ladrones? Y luego le dijeron, hey, ¿puedes hacer unos shows con Shakira? Y él dijo sí, y de ahí empezó como the ball rolling, right? If I paraphrase it right. So when you started playing with Shakira, do you have any idea of who she was? What were the expectations? What was in your mind when you first met her?
Well, when I got called to do that first song, I didn't know who the artist was going to be. Okay. I just knew it was some artist from South America that was coming through. Yeah. A lot of times they don't tell you any information. You just show up with drums. But when I did find out who it was, I remembered her because I knew the album Pies Descalzos. A lot of my friends, because I had a lot of, Latino friends, they all had that record. I remember, but yeah, at the time I was just trying to do a good job, I guess. But then we made,
and you did.
And then we had a lot of fun in the studio. We got along really well with Sebastian, Luis Fernando, Shakira. I met her manager, her parents, her brother, and we all got along really well. And I think it's obvious because we still all get along really well. So
absolutely. So, entonces le preguntó a Brendan que cuáles eran sus expectativas cuando empezó a trabajar con Shakira. Él me dice que esa primera canción que él grabó, él no sabía quién era el artista. Muchas veces en el estudio de grabación no te dicen quién es el artista cuando vas a grabar. Él solo sabía que era un artista de Sudamérica y que estaba pues emergiendo. Entonces cuando grabó esa canción conoció a Shakira, conoció al productor, conoció a la familia, al perro, al gato, mejor dicho a todo el mundo, que se la llevaron súper bien y pues empezó la relación tan bonita que tienen ahora. And then if you can share some of the technicality of that album, what kind of drums were you playing at that time?
I remember exactly. I still have those drums. Wow. That was my red Yamaha Recording Custom drum set for those drum nerds out there. Yeah. Yamaha Recording Custom. I think that drum set's from around 1990, kind of the Dave Weckl color and red wine color. So yeah, that was the only drum set I owned back then. So
as far as cymbals, Sabian?
Let's see. At the time, I don't think I was a Sabian artist yet, so it was probably Zildjian. And it was probably a Ludwig 6.5 Superphonic snare drum, chrome over brass. I still have that snare drum. Hold on.
Wow. Okay. So, le estoy preguntando a Brendan que cuáles eran las baterías la batería que él utilizó para grabar ese álbum de Pies Descalzos, y nos estaba diciendo que es una Yamaha Recording Custom de los 90s tipo Dave Weckl, y le estoy preguntando sobre los platillos. Él me dice que no era un artista de Sabian en ese momento, que de pronto tocó Zildjian, y ahora nos está hablando del revolante que nos está mostrando. Nos va a mostrar que es un Ludwig Steel, is it? Wow.
This is a chrome over brass. This is the snare drum. The only snare drum I had back then. So this is the snare drum on Inevitable and Octavo Dia and probably all the other songs too. But this is it. This is the snare drum on Donde Están los Ladrones, I remember.
And it sounds beautiful. I love that recording because it sounds, at the beginning, Shakira would be a lot of rock, the sound would be rock. And then through the years, she changed. But the first couple albums, she would still sound rock. To me, at least. And
we definitely tried to emulate a lot of drum sounds that we both listened to a lot of Blur, the band Blur.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, Sheryl Crow, Radiohead. So we were definitely listening to those drum sounds and trying to get as close as we could.
Great. So, le estoy preguntando a Brendan que en esa época Shakira todavía sonaba muy rock, entonces me dice que sí, que ellos escuchaban mucho Led Zeppelin, Sheryl Crow, Blur, Led Zeppelin y trataban de conseguir esos sonidos y traerlos a la grabación. And then let me just say hi to everybody. There's a lot of people asking questions, and I'm just gonna pick a random question here. There's one here. I would work with Shakira for a couple of donuts. You're so lucky. Some people say. So, yeah. Some people are asking you when are you going to Mexico?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, that's what we all hope, right? There's another question here. What was it like working with Tegan and Sarah?
I did the Tegan and Sarah tour called the Love You to Death tour. That was 2016, I believe, 2016 to 2017. It was fantastic. They're I don't know if you're familiar with their music, but they are
not at all.
They're two sisters. They're twins. They're from Canada, and they're so cool. Very cool. Very funny. Very talented. Great singers. I was thrilled to be on that tour.
Okay, so le estoy preguntando a Brendan preguntas que ustedes mismos están haciendo, entonces siguen colocando sus preguntas ahí porque estamos leyéndolas y alguien estaba preguntando qué fue para él tocar con Tegan y Sarah, que son dos hermanas de Canadá. Él dice que suena excelente. Yo personalmente no he escuchado sus canciones, pero muy recomendado para todos que están allá. And then I would like to talk maybe, after you started with Shakira and she started getting recognized, how was it like? Were you like there? Like, what was it like to be like, okay, Shakira is playing little tours to big tours. What was it like?
Well, good question. I think when I started with her, she was already popular. But mostly in Latin America. Yeah. So we didn't do small shows. We did big shows, but they were big shows in Argentina or Brazil or Colombia or Puerto Rico or Mexico. And then when I did the album Laundry Service, and then we started doing more venues in English-speaking countries. And then when we did, I guess the album Oral Fixation, then we started going more like countries like, going to countries in Africa or the Middle East or India or Asia. So I think it wasn't that she got bigger, like the size of the audience, but bigger, like the more countries she started going to. So that was exciting. We would go to new areas of the planet every time she released another record.
Yeah, and we're listening to Whenever, Whatever, which was a top hit all over the globe. And I can imagine...
I play drums on that song.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm playing the songs. It sounds great.
Yeah.
So, le estoy preguntando a Brendan acerca de cuando empezaron a tocar con Shakira en esos tours al principio, cuando él estaba con él, y yo le preguntaba que qué se sentía tocar de los tours relativamente pequeños a tours más grandes cuando ella empezó a ser más reconocida mundialmente. Y él me dice, y me corrige, me dice que realmente no, que ella ya era conocida en Latinoamérica, obviamente, y los shows que hacían ya eran grandes, pero pues eran Suramérica, Argentina, Brasil, Chile, Colombia, bueno, todos los países de Suramérica, pero después cuando empezó a sonar el álbum Laundry Service y esos empezó a tener mayor reconocimiento mundial y empezó a viajar por todo el mundo y estamos escuchando la canción Whenever, Whatever y él me dice que él la grabó, entonces escuchemos un minutito Whenever, Whatever, let's appreciate the song. And then for this song, what drum did you use?
Okay. I don't have this drum set anymore, but this was a drum set called a Fibes, Fibes, Silver Sparkle. You probably, it's the drum set that's on the MTV Unplugged.
Okay.
It's the Silver Sparkle drum set I used to have. It's in a Hard Rock Cafe somewhere now.
Oh, wow.
But that was the drum set I used on this whole record. It's on this song. It's on Te Dejo Madrid. No, I'm sorry. I used a Slingerland on Te Dejo Madrid. But it's on Que Me Quedes Tú. It's on, let's see. Oh, no, Ready for the Good Times is also the Slingerland drum set. I guess I used two drum sets on this record. An old Slingerland and my Fibes drum set.
Entonces le estoy preguntando a Brendan sobre la batería que utilizó en este álbum en específico. Me dice que utilizó dos, la Singerland y una Fives Drums, que utilizó también el Unplugged, y que esa batería está en un Hard Rock Café en alguna parte del mundo, ahí en la vitrina del Hard Rock Café. And I know you co-produce and co-write some of the songs of this album, the Laundry Service album. How was your involvement in this album? Can you tell us a little bit exactly how you collaborate with Shakira in this?
Oh yeah, I've done several songs over the years, and I think it's sometimes Shakira likes to go out and collaborate with artists, like famous songwriters from all over the globe, DJs or whatever. And sometimes she really likes to get together with some musicians that she's friends with and toss around some ideas. So over the years, I've been able to, I think it started when she found out that I play guitar and I write songs a little bit, and she asked me to write a song for a Pepsi commercial that she had to do. So she said, I need a song for this Pepsi commercial. Would you help me write this song? So I did that. We did it in like a day. It came out super cool. And she liked it a lot. So she said, if you have anything else, I'd love to hear it. So I just started showing her all these different ideas I had. So then I showed her the song Fool. And she said, I want that on my next record. So she rewrote a lot of the lyrics and we recorded that. And then I did a couple other things. I did a song for a Reebok sneaker commercial she had to do. I did a song called Dreams for Plans. I did a song called Costume Makes a Clown. Those were on Oral Fixation. She just released a song on the new Black Eyed Peas record. I co-wrote that one.
Oh,
so
which one is it?
It's called Girl Like Me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she's obviously writing with a lot of people all over the planet. So, but every now and then she asks me, "Do you have any ideas, or you want to jam?" Or so I'll co-write with her. But some of my favorite songs she's ever written are the ones she does with her original partner, Luis Fernando Ochoa. Like every album has at least one or two songs from him, and they're always my favorite on every one of her records.
Okay. Perfecto. Le estaba preguntando a Brendan que yo sé que él estuvo produciendo y coescribiendo algunas de las canciones de este álbum que estamos escuchando, el Laundry Service. Él me dice que no solo este, sino en muchos otros más. Entonces le pregunto que cómo empezó todo, y entonces él me está diciendo que a Shakira le gusta colaborar con mucha gente, muchos DJs, muchos músicos, pero que en ocasiones le gusta reunirse con músicos y escuchar ideas. Entonces ella se enteró que Brendan toca guitarra y piano, entonces le pidió ayuda para un comercial de Pepsi. Entonces lo hicieron como en un día, hicieron el comercial y luego le quedó gustando y dijo, bueno, mándame más ideas cuando quieras y las desarrollamos. Y así fue como él ha escrito y ha producido canciones con Shakira. Nos dice que ha hecho comerciales para Reebok, que ha escrito un montón de canciones para comerciales y coescribió la última canción que salió con Black Eyed Peas, Girl Like Me, con Shakira. Entonces, that's really impressive. And did you get those skills from going to school?
I think, yeah, but I think mostly from being in bands. Okay. I think when you're in a band and you need songs, you can't just expect the singer to write all the songs. Sometimes the guitarist or the drummer or the bassist has to write a song or two. So I think because I'm not only a classical musician that plays in orchestras or something like that, or a jazz musician, and I'm not only a a trained recording musician. I grew up being in rock bands. So I think when you're in rock bands, the idea of coming up with songs isn't as intimidating. So I think I've always been kind of writing a little bit, you know. But then in school, I learned a lot more about harmony and, you know, the proper chords and keys and things like that. But yeah, I think it's just been a little thing. You know what also helped a lot was a lot of my roommates over the years ago in my teens and my 20s were all musicians. So one of my roommates played piano, one of my roommates played guitar, another one played bass. So I would always be asking them questions. Why do you play this bass line? Or why do you play this chord and then this and then this? Or what's this thing that happens on the record? What is that sound? And so I learned so much from my friends. And I think that influenced my playing, my production skills, my songwriting skills. It's just been a kind of a slow climb.
Awesome. So le estoy preguntando a Brendan que de dónde salieron de dónde él sacó esas habilidades para tocar el piano, la guitarra, que si los aprendió en la universidad aquí en Miami, y él me dice que sí, que no, que fue más que todo fue tocando con bandas, estando rodeado de músicos, que él vivía tenía muchos roommates, compañeros de cuarto que tocaban instrumentos, y él le preguntaba cómo se toca esta línea de bajo, cómo se toca, por qué estás tocando esto. Entonces prácticamente que él hacía muchas preguntas a sus amigos para aprender y poder pues desenvolverse en la música. También me dice que él pues en la escuela aprendió un poco más acerca de armonía, de cosas más técnicas, y pues así fue como desarrolló esas habilidades para la música. And talking about developing abilities, how do you become a drummer? How many hours did you study? What did you practice at the beginning? Can you share with us, and for maybe younger drummers that are starting, what they should be focusing on right now?
Well, sure. First of all, drums are the best. Everyone should play the drums.
Yeah.
Whether you're a professional drummer or you're an amateur drummer, everyone should play the drums. You know, it's just a fun instrument. So if you know anyone who has a drum set, go over and bang on it. It's so much fun. But then what you have to do to get to climb the different levels of being a drummer is you have to work on your coordination, your independence, and your ability to keep time. So that's the number one job of a good drummer, is your ability to keep steady time. And that's something that it's a little difficult in the beginning because you have to conquer all these coordination problems with your feet and your arms. But then once you get past those, then you can focus more on your timekeeping. So if it's a fast song, you know, keeping it at the fast speed. If it's a slow song, making it feel good at the slow speed. And then that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot of subtleties and intricacies you can work on, but timekeeping is 90% of it. So that's what you really, really have to work on to be a good drummer.
Perfect. Le estoy preguntando a Brendan que cómo él aprendió a tocar batería y qué consejo le puede dar a esos bateristas que de pronto están empezando. Entonces me dice que, número uno, la batería es lo más divertido del mundo, que si no eres baterista y tienes a alguien conocido que toca la batería, que ve y lo hagas y toques, que es lo mejor del mundo, y yo me sumo a eso. La batería es lo mejor del mundo, pero dice que para avanzar y llegar a nivel profesional tiene que empezar a estudiar coordinación, independencia, mantener el tiempo. Nos dice que mantener el tiempo es muy importante, y que después de todo eso, bueno, la creatividad y estudiar, pero él hace mucho hincapié en mantener el tiempo, que es lo más importante para los bateristas. And another $1 million question is, did you teach Shakira how to play the drums?
I think so. I don't know. Maybe she says that. She always calls me her drum teacher, but I don't know. Maybe she just already knew how to play, and I don't know. But yeah, she always calls me her drum teacher. And I remember for the what was the tour called? The Tour of the Mongoose, La Mangosta. She did a little drum solo before the song Rules, I think. And I had to teach her that drum solo. how to keep the beat, and how to do some drum fills. So we used to do lessons like every day for
wow.
During rehearsals. We'd all rehearse as a band, and then everyone else would go take a lunch break, and then I would stay during the lunch break for an hour and give her a drum lesson. So we practiced a lot at that time.
Could you give us a quick rundown of what do you teach Shakira?
Well, it was a lot of, I think she already had an idea of what she wanted to do. She wanted to do like a beat and then do some fills. And then she said, you know what might be cool would be I do a beat and I do a fill, and then you do a fill, I do a fill. So we trade back and forth.
Back and forth,
So then we practiced, coming up with a beat that would work, and coming up with fills that she can do and ones that I can do, and how we can transition that into the song we were about to play, which I think was Rules. I can't remember.
Yeah, but people are saying it's Rules.
Okay, yeah. So that's what we did. So we decided what beat could we do that could transition into that song well, and what types of fills could we do like that would work night after night, where we go back and forth, back and forth. So that's basically what we did. And yeah, she picked it up right away. It was not difficult to show her some things.
Great. So le estaba preguntando a Brendan si él fue el que le enseñó a tocar batería a Shakira, y él dice que sí, que no, que más o menos, que Shakira siempre lo llama a él su profesor, pero realmente nos habla que en el Mangosta Tour Shakira hizo un solo, y entonces ella tenía una idea de qué hacer, y entonces le pidió a Brendan que le enseñara. Entonces nos dice que mientras todo el mundo se iba en los ensayos, se iba a almorzar, ellos se quedaban por una hora a practicar ese solo. Entonces empezaron a traer ideas, y él enseñaba los fills, y que tocaba un fill ella, un fill él en la canción Rules, que la gente nos está colaborando aquí. Brendan, time is almost over. And I would like to end this conversation with the top 5 type of situation countdown, where I ask you the top 5 thing and you answer really quick what it is.
I'll do my best. Sure.
Great. Let's start. And then top 5 accessories for playing drums that you must have.
Top 5 accessories for playing the drums. Wow. So you need to have a good drum stool. You should have a rug underneath your drums so your drums don't slide all over the floor. You should have good headphones or something like that. You should have a metronome or some kind of timekeeping thing to practice. And let's see, lots of duct tape. Duct tape fixes everything.
Absolutely. So le estoy preguntando a Brendan, y el tiempo se nos está acabando, entonces quiero ser súper breve, que cuáles son sus 5 accesorios favoritos para tocar. Les dice que el sillín, el tapete, unos buenos audífonos, metrónomo y cinta, esa cinta para que resuelve todo realmente. And then the top 4 drummers for you right now.
Top 4 drummers ever or currently?
Ever. Okay, let's...
Ever. Steve Gadd, John Bonham, let's see, Stuart Copeland, and number 5 would be tough, Tony Williams.
Ok, wow, incredible. Le estoy preguntando el top 4 de sus bateristas favoritos globales. Nos dice Steve Gadd, John Bonham, Stuart Copeland y Tony Williams. And now top 3 advices for new drummers.
Top 3 advice for new drummers. 1, don't just practice by yourself. Make sure you play with other musicians and meet other musicians and play with other musicians. That's important to develop your musicality. 2, it seems most people spend 10% of their time working on their timekeeping and 90% of the time working on their drum fills. I would flip that around and spend 90% of the time working on your timekeeping. And 3, I don't know, just work on playing soft and loud. I think playing well softly is a great way to get good tone out of your drums, not just hitting as hard as you can. I love hitting hard, but also practice being a strong drummer playing softly.
Great. So le estoy preguntando a Brendan los 3 consejos para todos los bateristas. Nos dice que uno, practicar no solamente con usted mismo, sino con otros músicos. El 2 es practicar más tiempo que feels. Eso lo hemos venido diciendo. Y el tercero es tocar suave y tocar duro para desarrollar la tonalidad de la batería. Top 2 right now, real quick. How to put this one? Favorite 2 songs with Shakira?
Favorite 2 songs to play?
Yeah, to play.
To play, let's see. What do I like to play? I really like to play, let's see. Man, that's tough. That's really tough. We have a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun playing Si Te Vas. That's a good song. She puts that in every set because she really loves the energy of that song. That's a fun song to play. I really liked, on this current tour, I really liked playing, what was that song? Amarillo. That was a lot of fun. It's a really pretty song.
Great. So le estoy preguntando las 2 canciones que él prefiere tocar con Shakira. Dice que es muy difícil, pero que las que más disfruta y siempre las colocan en los setlists es Si Te Vas y la otra es Amarillo. And now for the top 1, something that you really love eating. Your number
Something
one
I really
food.
love eating?
Yeah.
Number 1 food, cappuccino.
Cappuccino, wow. How many have you had today?
Only 1.
Okay. Le pregunto
But it was my favorite meal of the day.
Great, awesome. Le estoy preguntando que cuál es su comida favorita bebida favorita en este caso. Dice que es el cappuccino y solo ha tomado hoy una. Brandon, thank you so much.
Segundo es pan de bono.
Oh, el pan de bono, no. Amazing. Brendan, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this time, for the interview. We only have like 3 minutes. Would you mind doing a quick promo for this channel, Hablando Drums?
I don't mind.
Go ahead. The floor is all yours.
What would you like me to say?
Just a quick
Just
promo.
talk?
No, just like inviting people to, to this show and your experience.
Well, let me just talk then. Okay, so thanks for tuning in to Hablando Drums. Thanks, Javi, for reaching out. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I see so many people writing that I wish I could talk to and answer every single question that's coming in. Thank you I see a lot of people from South America, so that's super cool that you guys were checking in. But I hope everyone from around the globe got something out of this conversation. And I think you should go back and check out all the past interviews that Javi's done and keep tuning into all the ones he'll do in the future. And I hope Miami's treating you well. I haven't been there in a while, but yeah. Yeah,
it is. Thank you so much, Brendan. I really appreciate this. Again, big shout out to Amy Piller for making this happen. And Miami's been treating me good. And so far so good. So thank you so much, Brendan. Big hug to you, and I wish you the best for the years to come and many more years with Shakira. Thank you for making the music that you make and for being an inspiration to so many drummers out there, including myself.
Well, it's my pleasure. Colombia, and it's I don't know, let's all stay in touch somehow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brendan. Y a todos ustedes les quiero dejar saber, toda la conversación va a estar grabada en YouTube, se va a quedar en YouTube para que ustedes la puedan ver, la puedan disfrutar en el futuro. Como decía Brendan, muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Brendan les estaba dando las gracias a toda la gente que nos ha estado escribiendo, todos los países de Sudamérica. Realmente le encantó. Entonces, si usted no lo ha hecho, vaya a suscríbase al canal de Brendan, aunque obviamente creo que ya lo ha hecho, y suscríbase al mío, Xavi.Bateria. Gracias, Brendan. Really love talking to you. There's many more questions, only 30 minutes to go, but I guess it's gonna be until next time. And again,
next chapter.
Next chapter, absolutely. And if you come to Miami again, of course, this is your home. And I actually went to and took a couple classes at the School of Music. So I'm with you right there. So that's
Good.
Why the color. I wish I could have the orange right there too. So we have the U. Mm-hmm. But thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. It's the least I can do. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Bueno, amigos, así concluye. Démosle el aplauso a Brendan, de todo el mundo que está allá afuera. Muchas gracias a todos. Gracias, nos despedimos, mandándoles un abrazo. Que sean felices, bendiciones para todos y nos vemos el próximo martes. Thank you, Brendan.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.